Good afternoon to you. Forgot to unmute the mic. Hopefully you're doing well as am I. Let me try to get this a little bit more centered with me. As am I. Yeah, so how's it going, everyone? Welcome to another Coding Zeal stream. And we're going to be having some more fun with Elixir today. We're going to continue our little adventure of trying and implementing a package, a library, one could say, for the Notion API. And we're just going to continue working on that. Okay, where did we leave off last time? So we're going to move this terminal to the editor window because that's freaking awesome. Let's go ahead and run our mixed tests just to see things run. We don't really have much in the way of good, reliable tests yet because we're still kind of building things out and having fun with this. Where we did leave off last time is we had done the creation. We were successfully able to create a Notion database on a Notion page on a Notion page we had access to. So this is the Notion root page we had access to, and we were able to create a database 3 last time. What's this shell right here? So this is a mixture of a Oh My Z shell and what's it called? Starship? So it's Oh My Z shell and Starship. So this is the vanilla Oh My Z shell theme right here. Terminal theme. The thing on, and then the thing that's layered on top of that is to add more context and information was yeah, this guy right here. And then that's adding on top of it. So those are the two things we're doing. Other than that, everything is pretty much out of the box in terms of my terminal configuration. And let's get some background tunes going. All right. I can't really hear. There we go. Okay, so having successfully created a database, but the code that was written, right, at least right now, is pretty verbose. One thing we did find based off the Notion API documentation was that there are a couple required fields. There is one required field in the creation of a database, and that was the, let's see, so create database. And that was under properties, the name title. field. It doesn't explicitly call it out here for the schema for the properties, but if we go into here, it actually says title configure. Each database must have exactly one database property schema object of type title. This database property controls that the title that appears on the top of the page is opened. Title database property objects have no additional configuration within the title property. So that was the one thing that kind of bit us in the butt when trying to test out sending a creation. And when we did that, we got this. So we need to clean up how we're handling the body params that we pass to the overall post. This is the part where I was a little fuzzy on in terms of the best way to approach this. One thing we do know is this first argument should be a string type. The second argument is a string type. Not struct. My computer's running really slow, so I'm kind of getting distracted. Why it's running so slow all of a sudden. Here, let me try closing some stuff out. I probably don't need this running. So I'll close that. I'll close this for now. Let's see. Let's close this. And I know what else to close. There's something over here I can close. Close this. This. Yep. There, that should save some resources. Okay, cool. Yeah. So back to what I was mentioning before. Don't need that. As for the properties, yeah, the properties are just a complex sort of object. I guess it would be a map. That's the minimum typing that we have for this. let's go ahead and try creating some side helper methods here. I'm gonna create a private method called build title. Oh, Starship doesn't work on your machine? Oh no. Is it only is it only compatible on the Mac or what? Oh, dang. That sucks. I wonder if I should just go ahead and include it as an array. Yeah, build title, like that. Let's take a look at what you're linking. Do. Oh, you have a nice little Elixir make file. Interesting. Is this at your system level so you can easily run commands whenever you want without having to set up the project directly? Interesting. And a watch mode. Yep, because you don't care directly what how's installed too. Node modules. That's cool. This is really clever. I probably would have thought about trying to do it as an alias in my dot files, but as a make file is a really interesting approach. Not bad. Not bad. I guess I never really think about make files because I'm in the Ruby world, Ruby and JavaScript for so long that I haven't had to think about a make file in a very long time. Yeah, now it's project based and not personal. Yeah, that's really clever. Cool. Really cool. When did you start doing that, or have you been doing that for a while now? So let's do another one of these private methods. If P and build parent takes in a parent ID. Build parent ID. Mm-mm-mm. Credo. Yeah. If this is the security library, yeah, I love this thing. It's not yet installed on this project yet. I do not believe, but it is an awesome tool. Yeah, we're still pretty bare bones with this. Credo is awesome. It's a code analyzer, but it also finds. I thought it also could potentially find flaws in your code too. But yeah, 100% love it. We should probably just go ahead and add it to our project now anyway, since we're already talking about it. So let's because our IDE is configured to use Credo to try to lint our code. We do have that plugin in. So why not give it a go? Don't forget the comma. So our dependencies are fetched. Let's just make sure. Mix depths. Get. Yeah, the file that's generated from Credo. See, what do they? The special linter file. Let's go ahead and try running Credo right now. Let's see if this works or if it's all working now. Boom, 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 boom. So should have a module doc. Yeah. Yeah, we haven't built a module doc for this one yet. So that's valid. Now let's try that configuration file. I'm kind of curious to see our application's not too complicated, but you never know. So what's the extension that we need to do? We need to do .credo.exs. A good template is always nice. Yeah, we don't got too much code, so we don't have to worry too much. Chunks are skipped because they're not compatible with the Elixir 1.11.4. That's fine for now. We're going to be upgrading to Elixir 1.12. Right now, we're just running on our system 1.11.4. Imports must appear before aliases. So that's the only violation we have, and that is in the base. I'm going to sneeze. Dang it. I pressed the wrong button to mute myself for sneezing. Yeah, that I should have gone like this. Sorry about that. Whew. Those sneezes come on hard and fast. Cool. I like this configuration. I'll probably use it for my other project too. I am going to bookmark that right now. Let's see, what section do I want to put this in? Cool. There, so our Elixir IDE should hopefully start picking up on those changes, because we do have Elixir LS in here, and Elixir LS is supposed to pick up what Credo is finding, I believe. I forget if it's Elixir LS or if it's Elixir Lint, actually. We need to add this to our I need to configure my formatter. Anyway, we digress. We're in the middle of tweaking this. So we created some private methods to go and build up the Hey, build Argus. I could have sworn that there's a clean way to set the parent on a map. This is the one I always forget. Elixir set. I thought there was like a clever way to set key on map. Like clever shorthand ways. Accessing values map.get. Yep, yep. And there's map.set. I already know about that. Puts in special update syntax. This is what I'm curious about. Supports special update syntax that update the existing Atom keys only. Okay, that's the thing I need to remember, because I remember there was a caveat to updating the map, and updating the map is only existing keys. These keys don't exist yet, so I can't do that. How are you this fine Friday? I'm wondering if I could, okay. So this is more of a coding style sort of deal. Um, do you think this is fine to set the parameters and everything for the body? Or should I try to do an alternative and try to like map it across? So we do body params, like so basically body params. And along the way, we instead of build parent, like set parent, set title. Set properties like that. So if I'm gonna go this route with setting the title, the parent, and all that type of stuff, then I need to update this to say set parent, set title, and then also this needs to change to get in the map, and then we do a map.put with the map with the key. Oh, that's duh, because I haven't actually handle the argument map. So set properties. Thank you. So GitHub Copilot auto-completed that method for me based off the context of my previous ones. What I can do here is I can potentially validate if the, what do you call it? I can validate if the properties have the minimum data necessary to have this pass. So what I can do here is, I'm not sure what the heck GitHub Copilot is trying to do there. It's just like, I don't understand GitHub Copilot. What are you doing? How would I even begin to validate this is the other question I have. Did I accidentally like close out the Notion documentation? I might have. Apparently I did. Oh, there it is. It's right here. I got thrown off because the Notion symbols. This is my actual Notion page. This is actually the Notion website. So if I want to validate this, I need to double check whether there is a property, a top level property that has title as its attribute that is empty. If I want to help someone that's trying to integrate and create a database with this. So I would need to go through the top level of this, and I would need to check if returns if at least one, here we go, any question mark, passing in a function. So this might be the key to our success. So return if an element returns truthy if at least one element matches. So we're going to get an enumerable. We'll need to convert our map into an enum list. Unless there's like an any sort of thing in here. If it has key. We can try to grab the values. Because we don't care about the key specifically. We care about the value inside there. So if the map, if one of these top level values has a key of title, it's valid. And we'll do the enum any to do that. So it would be it would be map values, passing in our map. Next thing we do is enum any. That gets passed in our list. I'll let this autocomplete. This auto-completed with JavaScript, interestingly enough, when this is supposed to be Elixir. There we go. Thank you. And yeah, so that's the value. And then, so now we have a map. We're back to the map. And want to check if it has a key of so enum has it's not an enum. I keep on saying enum. It is map has key the value, and the key we're looking for is title. And that's just going to flat out return back a true or false. And we want to do a control flow statement here. So if this is we'll clean this up. So I forget if this is good. If this is good Elixir or not. Doing a case statement where we do this. What needs to happen here is I want to raise no title provided. That's interesting. Get a copilot, fill that in for me. An expression is always required on the right hand side. We just do a catch-all. So mix, so IEX, IEX dash S, all right. Variable title unused if you use a prefix, blah, 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 blah. Are we finished here? We're not finished here yet. So we're going to say that create database is an exclamation point function because it's going to return back an error if things don't match up. What I need to do is I need to start up this with Doppler to inject in my environment variables to do the manual testing for the API. Then Notion API database module, create database, our parent ID. So now we're going to try to create a database. So our parent ID is this page right here. Our title is going to be Testeroni. And our properties are going to be an empty map. Let's see what happens. I'm going to quickly kind of blur this just in case the errors output data that we don't want. And I got a different sort of error. Expected map got and this is happening on the line 195. So right here. I guess this needs to be this. And let's reload our module. Then Ocean API database. All right, try this again. And we did get an error that says no title provided. Let's be a little bit more descriptive with that error message real quick. You must have exactly one data property of type title. In your properties. To reload, rerun. There is our error message. Great. I'm going to chop off setting that properties map to empty, so it defaults. And now we get a response back saying that we created a page. So if I go back over here, we get Testaroni. Very cool. I kind of like this style better because I can just read it and see what it's doing. All right. I am going to commit this real quick. Add credo. So let's add in the commit that added credo in real quick. And then fix credo. Fix credo violation was this change. And then vector and validate title. creation or DB create. Cool. Check in meetings. Okay. I think we have something solid for the databases. We have some solid code for the databases. We can retrieve, list, and query, create. Retrieve, list, query, create. Retrieve, list, query, create. Good. Next on the agenda is the next endpoint. It's like I'm speaking like suspensefully. Page object. So implementing the endpoints for a page object for pages. So let's get into that next. Pages EX is going to be our module. So def module, then Notion API pages is the name of our module. Let's go ahead and import in the thin Notion API base, not core. I'm not sure where that came from for the suggestions. Ooh, we needed, Credo did warn us that our module did not have a module doc header. So at module doc, module for interacting with databases, or interacting with databases with Notion databases. Not modules, module. Credo, credo, long E, credo, like the Cree. Cool. English is hard. Too many rules. But Happy Death, thank you very much for mentioning that. Module docs must appear before input. Thank you. Import. Thank you. So let me just commit that added module doc. Databases. All right. Let's get cracking at building out the integrations for retrieving a page, or for all the pages endpoint. So retrieve page. So I'm just going to keep the method names similar to what Notion's doing, the way they call it. Just reduce the amount of mental mapping that a consumer is going to need when interfacing with our library. So retrieve page takes in a page ID, and it is going to be, we can just replicate this. So instead of databases, pages, and it's actually going to be just slash page ID like that. No arguments, nothing like that. Just that. I wonder, I mean, we're getting to the point we've successfully implemented one module for databases. We're starting on pages. I wonder if I should just start adding in a module like VCR to test this. I never used VCR for Elixir projects, so it will require some study, or XVCR, EXVCR. I saw that the Twitter library, the Elixir Twitter library, was also using XVCR, which is why it's been kind of bugging me. Let's read up about this. And if anyone's ever had any experience using this library, let me know what you think. But it's slow, really, even with the recordings. That's Yeah, it's interesting that it's slow. I think they call it out in the README. Gotcha. Yeah, well, let me just continue reading the README then. This module the mallx by default. You're checking adapter. Okay, so there's the test. There's the setup. Cool. Alrighty then. Well, I'll gloss over the test setup just to read any callouts. Custom consents. You can manually define custom consents JSON file. Server responses. So I presume, Happy Death, since you have experience with using this library, you're an Elixir developer. So I'm curious, how long have you been doing Elixir or Erlang? If you are one, a developer. Consider JSON flexible response rather than just encoding the actual server response. Cool. So custom cassettes. You've been writing Elixir for maybe 5 years. Cool. That's a that's a pretty lengthy amount of time. How have you did you have any experience with any other programming language prior to that, and how has the past 5 years been with Elixir, and the changes you've seen along the way? I'm really curious. Former Java developer. I was a former Java developer too, but that was almost 10 years ago. Right out of college, I got a job doing Java development for about a year and a half. It wasn't a good job, so I didn't learn a lot. You don't miss Java? I don't miss it either. So, okay, this is going to be the important part about removing sensitive data. because this is an authenticated API, so we're gonna have API keys in it. So we're gonna have to make sure to remove said API keys. Configure filter sensitive data pattern placeholder that can be used to replace sensitive data, and it searches the string matches with the pattern. String representation, regular expression, replaces the placeholder. Replacements happen both in URLs and requests and response bodies. Okay. Filter. So it's going to be in the headers, not in the data. That's the one we're gonna target. Is this one right here? Can be used more. Can be used to remove sensitive data and request headers and check the headers. So all we have to do is configure it here, and then it would automatically delete it there. I think recorded cassettes should contain replaced data. So used. Was header from responses, matching options. Cool. Here's the default configurations. Global mocks. Huh. Stubbing responses. Yeah. We can also try to just stub responses too instead of using VCR. But I kind of like I I kind of want to take the opportunity to use VCR to help somewhat automate updating stubs if we need to. Let's give it a try. I've only been doing Elixir for 6-7 months now, so still learning. So getting as much experience as possible, doing different things. It's the goal. Credo seems to make more sense now that I'm thinking about it instead of Credo. That seems to make a lot more sense. What version of Elixir of this library actually exists? It's 13. That's the one thing I want to do is I want to explicitly like install version. So exit this. Clear mix depths. Yeah. Cool. All right, let's start our setup. Usage. Use Elixir mock to test to the test module. This mocks eyebrows by default using Hackney. That's why adapter.hackney. Okay. We're using so we're using HT poison. HTTP poison. HTTP poison. Support's very limited, but tested only with think request yet. Interesting. HTTP potion. Which ones? I've only ever used poison. and not potion. We'll stick with poison. So we're using Hackney. Specify adapter Hackney. Okay. Use Elixir, test module, the smocks eyebrows. So do I have to put this under, where do I put this file? I guess I'll put it under, I guess it doesn't really matter because it's the module. It's just the module name of this. EX. Actually, let's look at hex m. I think it was the Twitter one I wanted to look at because they were using, I believe they were also using XVCR here too. Yeah. I want to see how they configured it. Okay, nothing there. Cool. You can hear my blinds hitting my desk. Is it so breezy? XVCR. Okay, so we just put it in our test. We'll just put it here in this module. Okay. We'd ideally love to have our tests run asynchronously, so let's do that. So that's our setup. Actually, we need to create a thin Ocean API folder in here, and I want to create a file specifically testing our different files. Let's start with databases. So before we continue on with pages, let's try to get databases going since we know database is done. So we're going to be doing some backfill testing. Def module, then Notion API test. the Notion API dot, and then it is database test. It needs to be an EXS. Did I miss that? Yes, I did, because it's a script file. Thank you. Then Notion API database test, and then we did all of this. Even though we're not explicitly using this, doing any API testing, this module is actually pretty empty. It just has this hello world thing in it. I'm going to keep that there because in the future, when I have to do the other testing, we'll need this. So close that. And is there any other stuff that they call out for, I guess we'll just do this. Copy this test here. GitHub Copilot wanted to fill in some more stuff again. I just noticed that real quickly. Let's drag this back over here and I'll take a look at our module for a database. And we will start with the retrieve. So retrieve database, use cassette. Retrieve. I don't know what doesn't seem like recording cassettes, removing sensitive data. So this part we need to do with the sensitive data. So before we even run this test, I need to make sure to get this correct. There was a config example. Here we go. Config access. So filter headers is the one want to filter headers. So let's take a look at the example. Remove headers from the response. And we just specify the headers we want to remove. Cool. It looks like it is just the headers we want. So in our case, it would be the Notion API key is the thing we really want to get rid of. Okay. And then what I'm going to do here is call we'll do that. Use alias. not Batcave, databases dot retrieve database, and the ID of the database we are going to grab is the test database. And is this ID right here. Not exactly sure where we're going to check for equality yet because, well, I guess it's going to be this big old thing. So this should return back a tuple with some data. Not sure what the data is yet. Let's just make it a blank map so we can just make sure that it fails and we know it works. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run Doppler again, which is the command line tool that dynamically injects in environment variables. And I'm going to inject in environment variables when we run mixed test, just to make sure that I don't accidentally leak my API key. Hide the screen and see what happens real quick. I got a failure. And it's complaining about Hackney. It said the adapter Hackney not loaded cannot be found. Hackney is misspelled. Ooh, let's see. So hack. There's an extra. Is that my mistake or is that from the docs? Looks like that's my mistake. Good catch. A mysterious E showed up. Okay. So again, why? Okay. For whatever reason, it's still. I think the other module needs to be. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I copied and pasted the code from the other test file, and so that one was airing out too. So I just had to correct that real quick. So you can see that on the screen. Apparently 2 tests passed. Give me a second here. Gonna try this one more time. For whatever reason, it's not running that other file. Give me a second here. One more check. Then Okay, I need to exclude one more key from my recording. I'm double checking. Give me a second here. Actually, actually I can show this part. So I need to make sure to remove from the header not only the Notion API key. Actually, it's supposed to be authorization, not Notion API key. That's the environment variable, but the environment variable that gets passed in sets the authorization key, the authorization header. So that's actually what's supposed to happen. So I'm going to run that test again, and it fails. I might need to, let me check the recording. Okay, I'm going to delete the cassette because this cassette contains the authorization header in it. Let me try running this again. Classic programming error. All right, let me double check now. My cassette is empty now. Give me one more second. We're gonna end stream soon. So what's gonna happen here is let's just make sure things are looking good before I try to do anything else crazy. So trying to do retrieve database. So database is retrieve database. We pass in the ID of what we're going to be retrieving, and it's supposed to return back us a payload, a tuple, in fact, of OK and our data. That is the way things are expected to go. But it looks like that's not exactly the way things are playing out. So let's run the tests. So I ran the test. It created a recording. Let me check the recording real quick. And make sure that it scrubbed the stuff I want it to scrub out. Okay, cool. It did. So here's the actual cassette recording of it. So you could see it scrubbed out authorization header, star, star, star. Nice. Don't have to worry about that. So that was the sensitive information. And it did return back a body for our thing. But did it actually pass our test? Because over here, we're asserting this emptiness. I'm going to do this. I'm going to assert against that. Maybe I'm just doing assert wrong. There we go. Maybe I'm just doing assert wrong. Because I can't remember right now. When in doubt, look it up. Is it as simple as equals equals? Yeah. So it's all that. That's a pretty complex object. I'm not sure if I want to insert that the fact that everything is in there. Now we're getting into the more interesting assertion stuff. What if I just want to assert that it has keys? I guess I can assert the ID, and this will be the last thing for today. So what I want to assert for is that certain things are there. So map has key. Or map dot get response ID, and I want to assert that the ID is equal to that ID. I want to assert that and then maybe I can just assert that the keys are all there. Assert map keys for response is ID. So ID, there's no such thing as name. Object. So this is GitHub Codespace is trying to fill in stuff for me. So it filled in all this stuff. I'm not sure where it got it from, but it filled it in anyway. Class edited time object parent properties title. Or is that part of properties? That might be part of properties. The title part. No, it's not. We have a missing comma on line 13. Syntax error, did a syntax before comma. On line 13. So right here. Wait, it's a tuple. I put a percent in front of it. Oops. That's right. Oh, wow. It's finicky about the order. I guess that makes sense because it's doing an explicit equality check in the way Elixir works. Cool. All right. Awesome. We successfully configured VCR to at least test that our API is still doing requests properly. And we're just doing some simple assertions on the data, because right now this library isn't really doing anything with the response data. It's mostly just in charge. The main objective of this library is just to help people make requests to Notion. It's not going to do anything with the data, at least not yet. So the fact that the data exists is good enough, because we're not going to be doing any data manipulation. We're just doing pass through. So I think just like checking that we got certain keys back, that the request is actually successful, meets the objective of the library thus far. Cool. So that brings us to the end of this edition of the stream. Next stream, we'll finish, we'll implement the other tests for Notion for the database page, for the databases, and then we'll move on to actually implementing the API endpoints for pages. And we should be good. Fingers crossed. All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Greatly appreciate it. And for all the lurkers and for the help, happy death. Really appreciate that. Glad to have you here. And I will catch you next Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific. And we'll continue working on this. So if you want to hang out, just listen to some tunes, just have something going on in the background, or want to help me out and provide any feedback as we're going through this, more than happy to. I am personally still learning a ton about Elixir. So if you can impart your wisdom, if you can help me come up with like better ideas to architect the code, implement the methods, the functions, let me know. So I will catch you next time, everyone. Have a great rest of your Friday and have a great weekend, and stay happy, stay healthy, and go eat something yummy. All right, folks. Bye.